Hello, Tamily. It's time for a very special episode of Ask Tamily. It's episode 156, and we are coming up on our third anniversary of Ask Tamily, which is absolutely crazy. So, we thought we would bring you the little team that makes this stuff happen, and you can talk to all four of us today. So, we're gonna test our tech skills and get all four of us on here. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Thank you for joining. We should have Kristen in a second and Nicole. There we go. Yay!
It
Let's
works.
take a moment to be happy about the technology working. I was looking back at all of our interviews on YouTube, and boy, did we have some tech problems.
Serious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was bad in the beginning.
Well, thank you, the three of you, for helping to make sure that doesn't happen today. And thank you, everyone that's watching, for dealing with us in the beginning of this tech stuff. But we wanted to kind of share some things from the four of us, and then we'll also take questions in the chat. But I think first we want to talk a little bit about Ask Tamily in general, and especially being that it's been around for 3 years. Some people aren't that acquainted with it from the very beginning. But our goal is to interview everyone we can in the Tamily. It doesn't matter if you're new or if you're a super veteran. We just want to talk to each other and be inspired, and it kind of takes things to a different level versus just seeing posts and, you know, actually being able to get to know things about people. So maybe we'll start with like some takeaways that you guys have had from the different interviews. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. So, I think every interview has something I've learned, something I've taken away, and we've had so many of them. It's like I went back into YouTube too, and I was like trying to study up for this, but every interview has something. Probably every interview has something memorable, but unless I go back, then it doesn't come forward. But a few interviews are super, like, stand out in my mind. Mama Chaba, her interview, I don't even remember what number it was. I couldn't find it in YouTube, which is something I have to fix. But Cassie, so Sastan, she was June of 2019, actually, and she was interview number 49, if you can believe it, because it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. She's just a very, vibrant, happy, joyful. It was just a really fun interview. She was drinking, I think she was drinking wine out of a can, which is amazing. She, very honest. But she talked about, and it sticks in my mind because I think this is what I've gotten the most over the years from the method, like what I've learned. She talks about the method helping her find an inner sense, a sustainable sense of confidence, like an inner confidence where she can she realized all the energy she was spending just on this like outer confidence, like outward confidence, right? And that the method just helped her find like a peace within herself, and then, all while getting abs and all of that. That really, I don't know, that just resonates with me because for me, the method is so much about the inside these days. Like everything that happens physically outward is, great, but it's not like the primary for me. That stuck out. She also talked about, like, I can still see her. She's like, everybody knows when you're going on vacation and you're just like white knuckling it. You're just going to eat the burrito, and how she just eats the burrito now. Her map collection, I don't know, her it just sticks out for me. So, but that inner sustainable confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll go. So one of the takeaways, and I don't have a specific one, but understanding that everybody sort of learns things a different way or has a different approach to things, and particularly with the dance cardio. Some people are really analytical and spreadsheet it, and other people rewind and repeat and go through the breakdowns. There have been groups who've gotten together and done those breakdowns and learned dances together. And then there are people that, if you've done metamorphosis and continuity, it wasn't like specific dances. They didn't have names back then. It was just a string of different sequences, kind of like the muscular structure sequences, and you just did them over and over and over again until it became ingrained in your brain. Then all of a sudden they had a name, and I was like, I don't have time to learn the names of these things. I just know like that one, you know, when you do the leg up and you do the kick and whatnot. So, I think we're all kind of nerds about this method and everything, but everybody learns in a different way, and I think that's great because everyone shares the way they learn through those interviews. I think it was, I don't know whether it was Adita that had a spreadsheet. I
Uh-huh.
know that Cassie does the rewind, repeat, and so does Katie. Um, you know, we all bring that up. I mean, I like hearing about the dance cardio because to me, it's so hard to do that anybody who's perfected it, who's not a dancer, is really impressive to me.
Yeah.
I think that's such a good point, Kristen, because we can all learn from Tracy and know like Tracy's way, but hearing from other people how they're interpreting it and what their perspective is, like I think it just totally multiplies our ability to, take things from this method by hearing about it from other, smart, strong women that are in totally different experiences than just learning it from, Tracy or the trainers, which are amazing, but it gives you that other level of understanding.
Yep.
I totally agree. And it's funny on that note of dance cardio, I think everybody looks to Loretta as the Michael Jordan of the Tamily. And I remember her interview, and when she really talked about you have to lift from your core when you're dancing, it's a lot less about jumping. That actually is one of the main reasons that inspired me to get a floor and try to start learning some dance. I'm still learning. I definitely don't have spreadsheets and I don't pause and rewind. I go for it, and if the music is good, I can get after it. I think one of the other things that, when I think of the culmination of all of the interviews so far, is that regardless of what class you're doing, how long you've been doing it, if you're, doing DVDs still or if you're streaming, we all struggle and we all, I think, are motivated to work through it. And knowing that everybody has that and all of our struggles may be different and unique based on our own bodies, I think it gives us more motivation to conquer the challenges every week and support each other in kind of that team conquer, which has really been awesome for me. And then I would say that kind of culminates overall that trajectory is more important than position. So it doesn't matter what class you're in, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it just matters that you're working on what you need to work on and asking for the support that you need.
Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
excellent point.
What's yours, Suzanne?
Well, I was getting like lost in just watching the interviews and not like thinking about what are my like specific takeaways, because I know there's been these quotes and just different things that I found inspiring, but one of the things I realized, like, which is the reason that we do Ask Tamily, but there are people who I followed and I certainly saw their posts and stuff before they were interviewed for Ask Tamily, but I didn't really know them or like connect. And so I realized I'm usually the person interviewing them, so that might be something that I get a little more from, but I feel like everybody would get that. Like, I watched Catherine Roz and her interview. I think she was like number 15, like way early. And I know I was following her before that, but I didn't know that like she was a chef and she's hilarious, and that like we kind of had a similar, you know, sense of humor and belief in butter and garlic, and that just like puts it on another level for me. It makes like the Tamily so much more you know, connected, even though it's like, well, we do the same workout, but finding other things that we have in common or getting to know people another way, it just brings me to the Tamily more and brings me to the workout more. And, you know, I think, like Nicole said, it's every single interview inspires me, even if I'm not learning like a super helpful technical tip or something, which happens regularly anyway. But if I'm just hearing how people think about things, like Katie talked about the method and dancing feeling like electricity in your body. And that's like a simple thing to think about, but a really powerful thing. And she shared like a movie clip from her favorite movie about that. Like, you know, in what other forum would we connect in that way? I mean, we might meet in person and have coffee or dinner or something, which is also awesome. But well, some of us might bring out a movie clip at a dinner, but that's not always going to be what happens. I feel like these interviews make that other space to just talk about that person for 1 hour is so, it just takes like the getting to know them to another level, and makes me feel more connected to people, even if I didn't hardly know anything about them before the interview. And then after the interview, I'm just like always paying attention to, there's Ask Tamily star, you know. So to me, I mean, I hope that we absolutely do these forever and we can interview anybody that wants to be interviewed.
Yeah. Oh, and I also learned that the Tamily is really into skincare. I mean, that's a huge topic. It always gets people really jazzed up. So there's that. I don't get it, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And that interview that you did, I don't know whose interview it was, but you actually got down and demonstrated the toe anchor.
Yeah.
That was right. Yeah.
Yeah, being able to show that, you know, explain it to people who weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and I'm sure we would also do that at dinner as well, but you can't possibly get everyone together who you can get on an Instagram Live.
If not at dinner, after dinner, for sure.
Yes. Well, we can certainly take some questions in the chat once we have some. It looks like everyone is just being very complimentary. So while we're waiting for questions in the chat, I have a couple of questions to ask you guys and give people a little bit of insight about the planning and everything that happens to make Ask Tamily occur. I mean, you know, we try to make it look like the most casual thing on earth, but all these three ladies will attest that I will lose my mind if we don't have an element of our planning in place. So it takes all four of us, and it's everything from the scheduling to actually making sure we can connect to creating good intros that go into our posts, and, you know, working on our brand to getting everything onto YouTube, you know, just in case Instagram ever explodes or something happens. We've got all the interviews there too. So just to give you guys a little more insight into that, I wanted to start by asking Nicole, who is our Chief Information Officer for Ask Tamily, if you can tell us about what it takes to get the interviews onto YouTube, why we think that's important, and how it's changed since the beginning.
Okay, so I think since about interview 5, I have said that getting these things onto whatever platform takes technical duct tape, hope, and prayers. And that's kind of still true today, but not as, I don't have to pray as hard anymore. So it's a process. I mean, it's definitely a technical process getting the interviews from Instagram into a format that'll upload to YouTube. I don't think I need to tell the whole seated story, but it's gotten like 95% easier. So in early 2020, I don't know, people watching may remember, I was so excited because Instagram updated and they started some kind of update, allowed me to download the interviews with audio and video together, like married together. In the beginning, I'll just tell the story. So in the beginning, I had to put my computer in a quiet room and I had to do an audio record of the audio. And then I had to do a screen record of the video. And then I had to drop both of those into iMovie and I had to try to marry them up. I would always get them to, like, the beginning would marry, and then eventually it would start to lag and I didn't have the time or energy or wherewithal to make it. So like, it's like a kung fu movie where you see a mouth move and then you hear the words. So that is about up until about interview, well, I guess whatever, it was it was 2019 maybe. No, it was definitely 2020 because I just listened to Cassie and she was 2019. Anyway, so now we can download them together. I still have to put them in iMovie and then they go to YouTube. So it's important that we do that because one day Instagram could explode. We don't know, you know. So they need to be somewhere else archived. But also YouTube, we have like 800 YouTube followers, which is crazy. I think some of those aren't even Instagram, you know. I hope they're all Tamily because it is a public channel, but
we're happy to block them if anyone finds someone they don't like, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're very big on privacy. That's like a caveat here. That's why the account isn't public, you know. We want to, you know, this is a safe space. This is a Tamily space. So anyway, YouTube's great because it not only archives it for us, every interview is on YouTube. Nearly every interview is on YouTube. And
a whole bunch that are not on Instagram because Instagram didn't used to save them.
Right. That was a whole other thing I was going to talk about. The fun, like, Instagram updates that are like, surprise, we updated, things changed. Sometimes always for the better, I suppose, but it's always shocking. But YouTube does closed captions, so we have a few Tamily members whose family are not able to hear, and they've been able to catch the interviews because they caption. You know, it's not always super accurate, but that's a great feature. So, you know, the archival factor, the fact that it's accessible to anyone because it's a public channel, you know. What was the last part of the question? I'm sorry, I did write it down here, but
I thought you answered everything.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Well, we're glad that it's easier, Nicole, but you have to have a lot of credit for doing that every week for a year and a half, I think. Like, and people would always thank me for doing interviews, and I'm like, I sit in a chair for an hour. Nicole spends 8 hours a weekend downloading this interview.
There were times back in the day when, like, all my family knows, like, about Ask Tamily. And back in the day, I'm always like, there's an interview, there's an interview. And I've only done a handful of them, but whether I'm hosting it or I'm just watching it, I have an interview. But back in the day, it was like, okay, I have an interview, but I'm going to put my computer back here. Don't go in this room and don't make any loud noises. One time I was down visiting my family in California and I put it in my grandma's sewing room. She got out of her chair and I was like, damn it, you're going in your sewing room. Ah! So then I had to, you know, but they all knew. And then when I didn't have to do that anymore, it was miraculous.
Yeah. You're Nicole.
Well,
seriously,
we appreciate it. So Kristen, I also wanted to ask you, as our Chief Communications Officer for Ask Tamily, can you tell us about your idea on creating the intros that we're putting into the posts now and how you've been engaging with the Ask Tamily interviewees ahead of time?
Sure. So, well, I don't even know, it was this year, right? It was 2021 that I came to Suzanne and Nicole and said, I think what occurred to me is that these announcements go out and they're just sort of featured a person's Instagram handle. And to me, I don't I don't follow enough people, and that's on me because I'm lazy, to know who they were. So it really had to be like all the stars had to align for me to show up and watch the interviews a lot of the times. And I thought, well, if I knew a little bit more about who these people were, then I might be more inclined to show up. And, that's when I pitched doing some sort of a pre-interview to kind of get to know people a little bit better and pull out some aspect that wasn't necessarily method related or workout related, but something that somebody out there might, you know, key in on and want to show up. So you very graciously allowed me to join the team to do this, and I know it probably created a little bit more work for Nicole because I think she had a whole process down whereby she emails the people with the questions and the this and the that. And so what I do is I call people a few days prior to the date the announcement goes out and just talk to them for about 30 minutes. I try to do a little bit of research on their Instagram feed to see who they are, to ask questions about some things that they posted that look interesting to me, and to pull out some aspect that maybe you wouldn't know about them. My favorite example of that is January and everything after Kristen. I found out not through Instagram, but just sort of my research that she was an artist who does these really big art installations, and they're very, very cool. So that resonated with me. Things like the skincare thing with Lauralee Tam, that resonated with a lot of people. Just being able to pull out what people do when they're not working out is kind of where I was going with that. And then I just try to make it fun and like I told Johnny Webster, like hype him up a little bit, like he didn't need any hype, but
right. The rest of us all need a little of Johnny's hype, and your intros definitely help.
You are the hype. You are the hype woman.
Maybe she's the chief hype officer.
There we go.
We gotta upgrade our titles.
So Emily, as the chief marketing officer for Ask Tamily, can you tell us what you think is important about our Ask Tamily brand and how we bring that to life in our interviews?
Yes, absolutely. So as a marketing person in my daytime life as well, when I don't have leggings on, I think about brand and connectedness all the time. So trying to think about, what is one of the core values of the Ask Tamily brand? And I really think it is about inclusivity. Ask Tamily is for anyone. If you want to talk to us, we want to talk to you is kind of how I think of it. And so trying to have more of a focus on that and do a little active recruiting. So some of you watching may have had me nudge you gently or not so gently or multiple times because it really is for everyone. We want to talk to every single person. We really believe that everybody has something of value to share. And so sometimes we're going to pull that out of you. We're going to kind of pull you along with us, or at least attempt to if you want to. And be more game about it. And then, in collaboration with Kristen as well, we are trying to hype things up a bit more. All of us have regular day jobs, or I think we all do. Sometimes there's more than a day job. And so hopefully between the four of us, we can try and make it happen. We want everybody to feel special. We want everybody to have a chance to be interviewed. And so you'll hear from me or anyone else on the team. And we want to talk to you. So give us a reach out. We'll talk a little bit later too about how the process works to get interviewed, because sometimes there's some confusion around that. Everybody thinks it's like you have to be, selected by somebody very special, but not the case. Honestly, we would love to book further in advance because it makes it easier for planning. So as we work on scheduling, that helps a lot too.
So we do have a couple of questions in the chat. So Maggie asked a good one. I don't know which of the three of you is going to answer this, but She said, what can the Tamily do to make you feel awesome about what you're doing for us?
We already feel awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. You're awesome too, Maggie. And, just the constant support really helps all of us. If any of you have ideas for people you want to nominate to be interviewed, send those our way because that would definitely be helpful. It just keeps our pipeline going. And if you know them better than we do and you can help with some of that nudging, we'd always appreciate that too. But the team may have some other things as well.
Yeah, people are always nervous beforehand. And I forget about that sometimes because, I've probably done 140 of our interviews. I'm always like, it's no big deal, but they feel like it is. And hopefully we make them feel like, we can be as prepared as they want. They're going to have questions ahead of time and all that kind of stuff. But I think everyone, at least everyone I know of, afterwards is like, oh, we were just talking about Tracy. There's no reason to be nervous. Like, I think usually people loosen up like within 30 seconds and it goes very well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I tell people when they say that, oh, they're so nervous. Well, first of all, I say I'm nervous too. Like, it just is what it is. But like it melts away so fast because you're just talking about something we could talk about for like 15 hours straight. And everybody wants to hear what you have to say. Like, I mean, yeah, it is nerve-wracking in the beginning, and the technology is the most nerve-wracking. And then it's just chatting.
Yeah. So
I tell people to drink beforehand, but
drinking, yeah, that definitely it helps.
That definitely helps.
Dan drank Jack Daniels while interviewing Tracy, I think, right?
I did.
From the bottle.
I did.
Well,
Tracy's technology issues gave me a lot of anxiety.
That was like, so Tracy's interview. So the other thing is like, you cannot be more nervous than Suzanne was when she interviewed Tracy Anderson. Like, remember that. Like that is like the apex of anxiety right there in doing an interview. And then that Tracy interview, a lot of people probably don't know this. I think she was interview 95, right?
Yeah.
That was the interview when Instagram decided to update and we didn't know it. So we've been plugging along. We're 95 interviews. We've got our process going. And then all of a sudden, the interview ends. And it was a 2-part interview because we had some tech issues. Of course. That's the way it works. And like Suzanne gets done and it's like Instagram asks you to do something completely different. And it's Tracy. And if we don't save the interviews in Instagram, they're gone forever. So it's like you get one shot, and if you screw it up, then it's done. So
and it was like going on to IGTV or IG whatever, and I was like, "Is this happening because she's famous? Like this has never happened with anyone before."
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yes. That was the very first like everything saves to IGTV.
Yep.
So you lost that one?
No,
but it's in 2 parts. But it's there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but the tech issues were on her end, right?
Yes.
Penny using the iPad and she froze?
Somebody was FaceTiming.
Yeah.
Like constantly trying to FaceTime. It's exciting.
Yep. I wanted to say in the interview, like, this tech problem is not on my end.
Yeah. You just took a swig and it was all good. But that part isn't in the interview. So nobody knows that because I cut all of that out.
Yeah, it was stressful. And I probably said like some things I shouldn't say or something, but it was stressful. I feel like that's the last time we had like a real tech problem. No, we haven't lost any other like interviews. I don't think anybody else has been in 2 pieces. Like,
no, I think they've all really gone smoothly ever since then. Maybe a couple little like glitchy connections. I'm trying to think.
Those are unpredictable though, and they can happen any time.
Yeah, it could. I mean, we could all just go right now. Yeah. Instagram could literally explode.
Jinxed us very seriously. And Lauren has a question. she said, do we keep an archive offline? And I mean, the YouTube is supposed to be kind of like our archive, but do you keep an archive, Nicole?
So I archive per year, but these are massive files, and there's, I had them all archived and then my laptop would fill up. So no, but I could pull them all off of YouTube really easily. YouTube's a pretty solid platform base, unless we have to start paying for it, and then we'll just pay for it, But right now it's a great free space to archive.
Yeah, it's a lot more stable than the crazy things that can happen on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should definitely talk to Lauren and get some help on that. I mean, from what I've learned, you need to double up on the archiving, otherwise you could lose it.
Yeah, I'll reach out. I mean, I'm open for suggestions. If there's an easier way to do this, then I will 100% do it. I'll make it happen. It's just if anybody really wants to know how it happens, let me know. And I'll explain how I'm doing it, and you can tell me if there's a better way. I haven't found a better way.
Sounds like Lauren might have some expertise in it if we connect with her. So thanks, Lauren.
Send me a message.
We know I can't help with any of it, so get in touch with Nicole.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting for some other questions that, of course, you can type into the chat anytime, we are all prepared to play Two Truths and a Lie to help everybody get to know us a little bit better. So maybe we'll do one of those before we answer any other questions. Who wants to do theirs first?
I'll go first.
Okay. All right, Nicole, you tell us your 2 truths and a lie, and then we'll guess what the lie is. Everybody in the chat can guess too.
Okay. So I played softball in college. I grew up on a cattle ranch, and I have a terrible sweet tooth.
I think 2 of those are lies.
Lies and the truth.
I know the rules. I'll just say that.
Ooh.
You have to say them again, Nicole. You played softball in college. You grew up on a cattle ranch. What was the last one?
I have a terrible sweet tooth.
I kind of think it's...
I feel like if Suzanne doesn't know the answer to this, it's kind of hard. I'm going to go 2. I don't see you on a cattle ranch.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. Although I do see you on a cattle ranch as well as I don't. Like,
Why do we all see her playing softball? That's the real question.
Well, 2 people in the chat, Jenny and Cheryl, are guessing the softball is a lie. I think the softball is also a lie. I also think the cattle ranch is a lie.
She's calling you a liar, Nicole.
Okay. I've been called worse.
Cattle ranch. I don't see that that's possible.
I mean, Sastam has a freaking map collection. Did we think that was possible?
No.
Possible, yes. Probable, probably not.
I so want to go through these comments right now, but I know that...
Well, a lot of people think it's the cattle ranch and the softball. So one of the 2 is the lie.
I definitely have a terrible sweet tooth. It's horrid.
You control it very well, though, Nicole. I can't even remember any time you've eaten dessert.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I could mainline freaking peanut M&Ms right now. I buy candy because I'm trying to be good, so I get healthy candy. Then I get the crappy candy. And to force myself not to eat it, I don't throw it away because I can't throw it away. I put it in a plastic bag and I throw it in the top of the cupboard in the way back. Because I think that I won't eat it if I have to get a chair and dig around in the back. But I do. Anyway, that is a truth, folks.
to the rescue.
Well, I think Jenny was the first one to guess, and I did grow up on a cattle ranch in California. But I didn't even go to college until 7 years after high school, so I never played sports. So that is a lie.
I knew that one wasn't true.
Oh God.
Love it.
I'm curious how you grew up on a cattle ranch, and I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
that's not what this game is for.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. That was fun.
So, Aggie has a question for all of us. Of course, the Ask Tamily chat question star, Aggie, would like to know, what is your personal heaven? So each of us have to answer that.
Oh, personal heaven. I'm trying to like feel.
Literal or figurative?
Probably.
Yeah. For me, I think it's going up to my parents' place in Rhode Island because it's quiet and it's beautiful and I can work out outside and it's just very peaceful and away from work.
That's excellent.
I have a picture on my phone of there's a little cove of a beach in Wailea, Maui, on the way out to Wailea, past Wailea, to the lava fields. There's a beach that's about like literally 10 feet wide. Heaven. Sunset, there's a tree, it's heaven. That's me.
Oh, I like that. I think mine would be on a mountaintop, like somewhere in Arizona, Humphreys Peak or something like that. Takes like 4 or 5 hours to get to the top. When you get to the top, it's so windy, but you just have views forever. And I used to be ridiculous into yoga. I have a picture of myself at the top doing like I'm holding one foot in the air and balancing. And luckily the wind didn't like blow me off. I didn't roll off the mountain to my death. So that's good.
We need you to do that with a TAM move.
Yeah. It'd be safer. Maybe a plank.
Maybe. It depends on what move it is. Not a headstand on a chair or anything like that. I don't know what mine is. I do love the beach. As I think about this, like, any day I don't have to go to work and I can, or work in this chair and I can be with Tamily and work out and go to a restaurant and, that kind of stuff, that's happening.
Yeah. Vitality Week would be a real close runner-up, every part of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to do their 2 truths and a lie next?
I can do it.
Okay.
I had to write them down. So my 2 truths and a lie. 1, I've danced with Tracy. 2, I only did 3 years of continuity, but I got all of the continuity DVDs, so I got the discount. And 3, I once walked from Penn Station in New York City to the Tribeca studio in wedge heels with a backpack for luggage so that I could take a class before walking in my sweaty clothes and sneakers to Battersea Park, where I was staying to do a work-related event that I actually got the wrong day and showed up a day late.
Oh, God.
So this is what's funny. Kristen, I think all 3 of those are true.
Okay. I think I know.
Say the first 2 again. What are the first 2?
I've danced with Tracy.
Okay.
And I only did 3 years of continuity, but I got all 40+ years of the DVD, so I got the discount.
Ooh. Okay. I'm going to guess number 1 is a lie, only because I know how shy you are. And I know that when we're in meetups, we got to come drag you out of the solitude in the corner. So I'm trying to imagine, maybe, but I'm going to go with number 1. I feel like the other 2 are true.
So I was going to guess number 1 because I was thinking of the vitalities that you've been to and the weekends. But
we didn't dance in Charleston,
but she went to the DC crash course, and I'm wondering if there was dancing there. But I'm going to say 2 is the lie also, because I think I'm on the fence. A lot of other people are picking 2.
they're all true. I know it's not a choice. It's like...
Well, it's funny because when I was thinking about this, I was like, okay, one of my truths is going to be I've never danced with like a group of people, Tamily, whatever, because that Chicago thing is stuck in my brain and I didn't get to do the dance with everybody. And I'm still like obsessively traumatized by that. But then I was like, wait a minute, I can't say that because the DC crash course, we did do a little bit of a dance. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't, full 30 minutes. It was just a little thing in a tight space. And I think even Courtney was there. She may have danced with us as well. I know she was there. I don't know whether she did the dance, but I did go through, all the way through continuity. So I didn't cheat. I earned my discount. But yeah, you would think I'd lead every single time I introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kristen. I danced with Tracy. But I totally forgot about it. I totally forgot about it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Isn't that the ultimate? That's the ultimate. And I was just like, nope, didn't remember.
That's excellent. That was great, Kristen.
I love that.
So Deb asked a question. What are we going to do for the Tamily who are too shy to be interviewed? I don't know. What are we going to do? Are we going to convince them they don't need to be shy?
Well,
all gift baskets.
Yeah, exactly. I will
tell you. A gift basket officer for that.
A glass of wine will get you talking. That's for sure.
We don't have a budget for gift baskets, do we?
No.
Do we have a budget?
No,
we don't have a budget. We have no money. We can start a GoFundMe though. People put money in those things for like no reason.
We did a when we were at the Vitality Week in whatever year it was, we did a panel interview, or like house interview, and we did a giveaway for that, but that was just like swag and stuff like that. But Kristen, you talked about, so when we brought on the hype woman aspect of Ask Tamily, which is amazing, by the way, like you're very connected to people, you really read people, you did that whole thing. I don't even remember what year it was because they're all a blur, but it's amazing. And when I plop them in, to every week, I'm just like, how does she pull all this out? Like, I didn't even know this. I don't even have, so thank you for that. But we talked about doing like a newsletter, and that could be a way for shy Tamily to participate in Ask Tamily.
Oh, but they were interviewed?
Yeah, if they didn't want to be on camera interviewed. It's just, it's just, how do we grow? That's part of our part of why we're doing this today. How do we expand? And
well, Cheryl had a good suggestion, maybe small group panels.
Yeah.
Put people together so that they can kind of feed off each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, I forgot that we were doing that thing for a few with like a guest interviewer and stuff. Like that was really fun. And I think it mixes it up. Like, so especially since Instagram allows more than 2 people to go live, which didn't happen until a few months ago, we can definitely do that. I think someone else suggested that in the chat too. So that might be a good idea.
I mean, yeah, podcast could work too. The other thing that we have to say, which we've been saying for the last 3 years, is that when Suzanne came up with this idea, it wasn't like pre-planned or anything. She mentioned something, and then like 2 months later, we're like, let's do this thing. And then we did it. And we didn't even think about like, how are we going to save this? Like, what is it going to be?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, where are we going with this? And then for the last 156 weeks, we've been doing
You're
it.
stuck. Am I wrong that you came up with that in Charleston?
I don't know. We might have talked about it then. Yeah. So when were we in Charleston? In 2017?
I don't know.
Yes, in July of 2017.
Yeah, we might have been talking about it then, and then we started it the next summer.
Mm-hmm.
Because Instagram would let you go live. I was doing that for workouts, and then the music police started, and I couldn't live stream workouts anymore.
Yeah.
But it was like, well, there's got to be some way to have fun, to do this live that can be inspiring. So what we say isn't copyrighted.
So I have a question. If time, because I know we all work and, you know, we have great ideas, but time is the devil in getting all the stuff done, and money were not an issue, where would you take this? What would you do with Ask Tamily? How would you grow it?
We would have a vitality week every weekend, and everybody could come, and we would just do live streams, and we'd do panel interviews, and that's it.
Yeah, just like we did the Chicago meetup, we had an Ask Tamily interview there with 13 former Ask Tamily stars, and we worked out, that's what we would do. And it would be a company called Ask Tamily, and we would travel around. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Gathering.
Or HR.
The Tamily. Yeah, that's what we would do.
That would be so fun. Okay, how about Emily? Are you ready for your 2 truths and a lie?
Yes. Okay. So my first one is I've worked with Wayne Gretzky and John Elway. My second one is that I have been to jail 1 time in Mexico. And my third is that I've met Tracy Anderson.
Okay. What is the first one again? You worked with Wayne Gretzky?
And John Elway.
And what is the second one again?
I've been to jail 1 time in Mexico.
We should do this like where you can ask questions about each of the things.
I was gonna do like 20 questions. I think this isn't. No, you have to have met Tracy.
I don't think she has.
I kind of think 3 is a lie.
I think 3 is a lie.
No, what? 3
How is that possible?
You have not met Tracy.
Correct. I have
I
not.
believe that's true.
Oh, that's true. True. Duh.
Oh no, it's I have met Tracy. Now I'm getting all confused.
What? Now you have to say him again.
Okay, I worked with Elway and Wayne Gretzky. I have been to jail, and I have met Tracy Anderson.
Okay.
I think 3 is the lie.
I agree with you.
I think 3 is a lie, and we need to change that.
We're united. So,
It doesn't matter what it is. We've chosen for you.
Yeah. Most people are saying 1 or 3. Michelle doesn't think that you went to jail. I do.
You're a bad mamba jamba. You've been in jail.
I have
Not that hard to go to jail in Mexico.
I went to jail for 3 hours in Mexico.
What did you do? What was your crime?
It's a long story. I didn't do anything wrong technically. I used to go riding dirt bikes down in Rocky Point, and we were all down there on spring break, and somebody stole my dirt bike and tried to drive off with it, and he actually wrecked it and broke it, and I chased him down on my boyfriend's bike at the time, and when the federale came, they assumed it was my fault, and they took me to jail, and they took the guy who stole my bike to the hospital because he broke his leg.
Oh my God.
Good Lord. The federales took you
Scraped
in.
together like $300 to get me out of jail.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
How old were you?
17.
It was like 2 weeks
Oh
ago.
my God. Okay, that's crazy.
I've never met Tracy. One day I will.
Yeah.
So that was a
And
lie.
what were you doing with Wayne Gretzky and John Elway?
So I worked with them at different times. In college, I did my marketing internship in the NHL, and I worked for the Phoenix Coyotes when Wayne Gretzky was the coach. And after college, I lived in Denver for a couple years, and I worked for John Elway doing some marketing and PR. He like leases his name to all kinds of things. He has restaurants and things like that. So I worked with him and actually got to see him pretty regularly too.
Here's a strange connection. My dad used to work at Elway Dodge.
Really?
Yeah. Not funny?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We would never know that if it wasn't for our family. I also don't think I should be learning new things about the three of you during Tamily.
Okay, what's yours though, Suzanne?
Okay, so I'm doing, mine are all Tracy Anderson method related. So the first one is I took 10 classes at the Tribeca studio. The second one is I owned the Omnicentric Metamorphosis DVDs for 3 years before committing to do it. And I worked out 358 times in the year 2017.
What was the first one again?
I took 10 classes at the Tribeca studio.
I think 1 is the lie.
2 is the lie.
What was the third one? 3 times in what year?
I worked out 358 times in 2017.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute.
I feel like that's
You can double up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can see you doing that.
that's true.
I remember driving down to Charleston and being like, I hope we get there late enough that Suzanne doesn't make us work out.
We did. Little caveat here. We got to Charleston, Suzanne and I. Ashley's plane was delayed. Suzanne and I went and had drinks and burgers and fries and then went back to the house and worked out.
Ew.
And it was fabulous.
Hard pass on.
We're going to work out every day when we're on a vitality trip. And if you don't work out, you're not allowed to brush your teeth.
Nobody wants that.
Anyway, it looks like everyone is guessing number 1 is a lie in the chat. A couple have guessed number 3. But the truth is, I'm a really, really bad liar. They are all true.
You're the boss and you get to change the rules. You did 10 classes at Tribeca. Was that at one time?
In 5 days.
You did 10 classes and see, I thought it was like going to be like, okay, if you were there, I thought you were only there for 3 days and you did like, 5, 6, 7 classes. 10. That's crazy.
Yeah, and we
Amazing.
did like, I guess it was a tain or whatever, and then a dance class right after. Like, it was insane. An hour of dance cardio. I would just like spin around in the back by like 15 minutes in. It was horrible. And one of the days we accidentally took the catalyst instead of the catapult or whatever, and we had to switch the schedule to go to the catapult because it was so hard. And I was like, what is wrong with us that we would do this? But yeah, 2 classes a day every day for 5 days.
And who was the instructor for your dance classes? Didn't you dance with Lashana or Courtney?
Lashana was one of them. I don't remember if Courtney, I don't think it was Courtney. There was this girl, Claire, with blonde hair. Some people I think aren't, trainers anymore. It was a long time ago. Like, it was right after the new Tribeca opened on Church Street. So like 2017, maybe 2016.
I think it was 2016 because that was right after our first Vitality that we went to, and it was in October, right? And I was trying to get back there, and I just couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. 10 classes. Definitely harder than a 2.5-hour Vitality workout. So, let's see if we have any more questions in the chat.
You baddie. Deb called you you're the baddie. You are the boss. That's what
I thought I would just change one of them slightly to make it a lie, and I was like, no, I'll just tell the truth.
While you're looking, Suzanne, I would ask anybody who's watching if you guys have ideas or suggestions for things that we can do differently or experiment this coming year for Ask Tamily. We'd love to hear it. If you have new questions that you would like to be asked, let us know. If you can't think of it on the spot, that's fine. You can always DM Ask Tamily at a later time. But we definitely want your feedback because this is for the Tamily by the Tamily. So we want to hear from you. What do you guys want?
Yeah. Yep.
So Heidi has a question, which is which studio is easiest to get to from the airport in New York? I have no idea, but
I think 59th Street's super easy to get to.
Depends which airport. LaGuardia is definitely better, and you can get to 59th pretty quick.
I mean, yeah, you have to take a cab. It's going to take a while regardless, but like straight shot, like, but I've never been to is Tribeca still even open? Tribeca is still open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been there. So, but that's just further down, right? You just have to go further.
Yeah, I didn't arrive by plane to New York City. We went to White Plains, New York, and then took the train into the city, and it was very easy to get to from the subway. I mean, you have to walk like 3 blocks or something.
You know what's funny, Suzanne? Here's another little side story because I've finished my wine, so now I'm chatty. I'm watching. So Suzanne and I talk all the time. She told me she was watching Girls, like serial watching it. So I started watching it. But there's this episode, I think it's in the first season, maybe the second, where they go out to like, I don't know, White Plains somewhere. But when they're on that platform of the train, I imagine you out there, like that's what it looked like where you were staying. And then you'd like train into the city and then train back out there. Maybe it wasn't, but that's what I imagine.
You know what? It is actually rather similar to that. Like the station in White Plains is outside.
Yeah.
It is made of wood, and it's, you know, I mean, it's probably not as middle of nowhere as that train station in Girls, but it's close. And then you arrive at Grand Central, and it's, you know, the most glorious train station on earth. So.
Right. And you went to Grand Central, not Penn Station, which is not the most glorious train station on earth.
Yeah, being in Grand Central is crazy because it's like you're in a movie. That's like such a famous place. Yeah. And there was one day that Aga and I were running late for the train, and we were running through that train station. And I was like, this is something I never thought would occur in my whole life, to have the need to run through Grand Central Station.
Like you're in a movie.
Yes. A Tam movie.
Like New York. There's probably lots of people from New York who like get, you know, I mean, there are lots of people, but coming from the West Coast where we don't have trains anywhere in Oregon, or, you know, and then I remember being in New York, like you get on the train and it's like an express train or something, and you don't know that, and you're sitting there and your stop goes by and your eyes get big, and the person sitting across from you is like, it's okay. It's going to go up and come back. You're fine.
Yeah, luckily it doesn't take long to figure out how it all works.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it. We'll definitely be doing meetups there.
Yes.
So we have been talking for 59 minutes, not a surprise. But we do have a few questions in the chat, so we'll take those before we end. Also, Instagram used to cut us off at 60 minutes exactly, and they don't do that anymore. So
we can talk for hours.
Fit Mama Jama would like to know, can we submit questions ahead of time for the guests, just in case we can't attend the session live?
Yes. So we used to put that in our, the caption, submit your questions or join live. But that has all changed. So yes, you can just message any one of us or the Ask Tamily account. You can drop a question into the comments. Yeah, absolutely.
Natalia said we should do podcasts so people can listen in the car. So maybe we can figure out how that can easily happen. I mean, obviously we get them onto YouTube. There must be some way to get the audio on a podcast for free.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't really be a podcast. It would be just the audio on a podcast format, right?
You can listen to YouTube in the car.
Yeah.
I've done.
It's
Yeah,
just not in a podcast app.
right. You can do that, but I guess, well, I mean, it can work on your phone, and you just don't look at the screen.
Problem solved.
And Matt also said interview Stephen. I just want to clarify. Are you talking about Stephen Beltrani? Natalia, if you could respond in the chat, let us know. If so, we could ask him. It may be tough, but we can try. It would be interesting. He's like the man behind everything.
Uh-huh. Maggie said she wants to applaud all of us, but particularly the work Kristen is doing because it makes a lovely difference to help us connect with the interviewees.
I
So
agree
definitely
with that.
keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Deb said do some Australian friendly times so that we could hear from Diana, Blanche, Jody, etc. We're totally open to doing interviews whenever people would like to do interviews.
Yeah.
I've woken up at 7 a.m, which felt like 2 on a Saturday. And we can do interviews at midnight Eastern time, things like that. No big deal.
So we haven't interviewed Diana. Colleen, we did interview.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of the ones where it was nighttime for her. She was like doing wine and cheese after she put her kiddos to bed. You were up at 7. I was up at 4:00 in the morning for that interview. I remember that one. So she is on YouTube. And Jody, I don't think we've done Jody.
We interviewed someone named
had,
but I don't
yeah.
think she lives in Australia.
We've had a couple Australias, and it's just an early morning for Suzanne and nighttime.
Yeah, but well, whoever wants to be interviewed, they should not hold back because of where they live or what time zone they're in.
Mm-hmm.
The internet works better in other countries anyway, as long as we can connect. Flawless from Thailand and stuff. I'm like, gosh, I wish American internet was that steady. But anyways, so we can definitely do that. Small Talk said, can you start to interview different countries? We have, like Thailand. So literally anyone that's interested in being interviewed, it doesn't matter where you are. And it is actually easier to connect in some respects, but we do that connection test because sometimes Instagram just doesn't want to let people go live. So that's why we have that. So Small Talk also said FaceTime audio. I don't know if that's something that we could
try that. The limitation we have is that we're kind of bound by Instagram. So we hold them on Instagram to get the most viewers.
Yeah, that's where the Tamily is, and that's where we are.
Yeah, and if we do FaceTime, I mean, we could try and do a FaceTime, but then it would be a separate, totally separate. So a podcast would be kind of a separate.
Right.
We could do that.
So Carrie said, Small Talk is in Germany. I think her name is Hannah, but I can't remember. And that she should go for it. So that is a lot of questions about interviews. We're down to schedule you, so you let us know what weekend you're available.
We have openings in August.
Absolutely. And we've interviewed people like in South Africa, in London. I think we have interviewed somebody in Germany already.
Alexandra's from Latvia.
Okay.
For goodness sake. So yeah, there's
Japan wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So Maggie has a lot of marketing advice in this big paragraph. She said you have the content, and the best practice with content is to put it everywhere. So then it's time and money involved in creating podcasts. Okay, well, we'll figure out the podcasting if we can do that. We may need some other chief officers to join this team because it does take a lot to make this stuff happen for just what happens today.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Heidi, who's the pregnant Kim? Kim Fuller in Arizona? We would love to interview her.
Uh-huh.
And Deb pointed out we've interviewed her and she's in France.
Mm-hmm.
Deb was another super memorable interview for me. I love your interview, Deb. Also, I very much remember that Tracy held like a t-shirt contest after her interview for something totally unrelated, and it was make her laugh, right? And so Deb's like, I talked about vaginal dryness or something like that on the internet. You made me, and then she laughed and she won. So
Hilarious.
I think that's what it was. It was something to do with the vajayjay.
We did. Well, I mean, we had to talk about menopause with Tam Menopausal.
Yeah.
Have to.
And I appreciate that. You know, that's the other thing. Like, we have our Tamily is age range is so broad, and there's so much that we can get from one another, you know, living our different stages of life. And
yeah, we've probably interviewed someone like from their 20s to their 70s.
Absolutely, Kathy, you know. And it's you know, there are times when I'm going about my day or my life and something happens and I'm like, I remember this person and their advice. And they got through it, so I can, you know.
So we have another. Oh, Deb said she never got that t-shirt. Terrible. Deb, maybe we can send you a t-shirt of some sort. So I don't know how to say this Instagram name. C Fruitshi said that she interviewed. Who is that?
That oh my gosh, I can't remember your first name, but we've messaged so many times and I'm so sorry. And we'd love to wait, she's ready to interview?
She's ready. Yeah.
Okay. In August. I'm gonna message
Christine.
you. Yes, Christine. I'm sorry. Christine, we would love to interview you. If it's time, then let's get it scheduled. We only have one interview in August.
During this hour?
What's that?
Did we convince her to be interviewed during this hour?
I don't know. I don't know if the wine is hitting me or my comments aren't updating anymore, but I'm not seeing that. So.
Oh, well.
It could be both.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better, Christine. We'll get you on the calendar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And whenever, whatever day. I think we do have one interview in August scheduled. Other than that, it's open right now.
Excellent.
Do we want to give a teaser for who's next week? I don't see her in here, but
I can't remember who it is, so feel free.
Okay.
Well, if there's any I almost canceled myself out of here. If there's any California Tamily,
I know.
Yeah, next weekend we're interviewing Maria for Me Too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sunday. It'll be a Sunday interview.
That will be exciting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, we have talked for an hour and 8 minutes, which is the longest Ask Tamily interview that has ever been held. But that's okay because it was 156 and we're coming up on our 3 years. So thank you everyone for watching, and send us your ideas if you want to be interviewed and other things. And we'll keep seeing you every single week until the end of time.
The end of time.
So you're sick of us. Maria, nominate people, please.
Yeah.
Send your suggestions to Ask Tamily.
Yep.
Or thanks for joining, everybody. This has been really fun. This is a very cool, special thing. 3 years, and here's to many, many, many more. I have like a tiny sip of champagne left.
A little sip of wine. Yeah. Cheers to 3 years and, you know, Tamily and living our best lives.
Right. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you all Ask Tamily team for making this happen.
Thank you.
Happy Sunday.